Hey, welcome everyone. I'd like to share with you my presentation on Reconstructionism, critical theory. Reconstruction critical theory. What is it? It's a philosophy that emphasizes an addressing of social questions in a quest to create a better society and the worldwide democracy. We find that with this theory, most teachers of social studies, political science, and social thinking normally are attracted to this philosophy, such as myself. This philosophy of social reconstructionism was founded by Theodore Bramlett in a reaction against the realities of World War II because of the kind of society Adolf Hitler and his counterpart Benito Mussolini wanted to create. Hitler, dictator of Germany, inflicted genocide on groups of people of the Jewish race, Jehovah's Witness, and anyone who, in other words, weren't Anglo-Saxon. It was important for me to share that history with you to understand how critical theorist Paulo Freire, a Brazilian educator, why he felt so strongly with his ideas and theory about society and how to transfer that into educational models. He understood the inequalities of poor people and how it felt not to be educated and not to have a strong literacy background. He also understood that education through literacy could serve as a vehicle for social and economic change. Freire wrote a book in 1968 called The Pedagogy of Oppression. And he's known for the famous quote, "Freedom is acquired by conquest, not by a gift." In other words, if you want things to change and have a just society, then you're willing to make those steps, you're willing to come up with ideas and use dialogue to really fight for what you believe in. Oppression, according to Freire, is referred to as any type of government regime controlling its citizens through the state or through political gains. And that was the component in chapter 1 of his book. In chapter 2, he talks about the banking approach. He uses this metaphor to suggest that students are considered like bank accounts, that teachers should be able to make open deposits in the students as banks, into their brains, I guess, in teaching and learning. However, he rejects the approach if the teaching and learning is not bringing forth social values towards a better society, if it doesn't allow students the opportunity to analyze and to have more reasoning skills in decisions they make through their core subjects and through life. Towards the end of the book, he spends some time talking about dialogue, how important dialogue is, to have dialogue and have a constructive dialogue in order to make changes to secure a society where freedom is not just a word, but it's an actual practice, a time for change. You know, through the educational model, we consider different factors that affect learning, children learning, such as poverty. Ferrer knew that because he grew up poor in Brazil and later on became an educator in this field, teaching literacy. He felt that education through literacy, particularly reading and writing and literacy, could actually bring about change through understanding ideas and being able to problem solve and bring solutions. So when we think about constructivism, we also think about critical theory because most most issues of the world, you have to really critique it, and you ask yourself, is this right? Is this correct? Is this the world that I want to live in? Is this a world that I want to leave for my for next generations to come? So the view of knowledge, that knowledge is constructed within social context through interactions within the community. We find that most educators, such as myself, I teach social studies and science and ELA, reading and literacy. However, constructivism is usually attracts those like minds who believe that we can't live in a just and a free society. The view of learning, it is integrated students into a knowledge of community, a sense of community. We just don't want our students to go off to a prestige college and forget about where they came from. We want them to be able to come back and make changes within this community to problem solve all the different social issues and political issues. Constructivism and critical theory. It's a theory that motivates learning. We find that when you motivate a child to learn and you build their self-confidence, it's an intrinsic learning and extrinsic as well. Goals and motives are more attained and more enjoyable to the student. The theory in practice. Most recently, we have a program coming up, Black History Month program in my class with my students. And I decided to use sort of a fishbowl experimental using this practice and theory. So I asked about 8 students, got them together, looked at the different skill sets they had, and asked them what they wanted the Black History Project to be like. And although they had different views, they were able to come to a consensus together, and they decided that they wanted to do a PowerPoint presentation. I facilitated the conversation, told them that they needed to integrate technology within their presentation. The scholars got together again, they went back, they came back, they conferred, worked in groups, came back. And the consensus was that they would put together a PowerPoint. They would do an expository text. They would have to also present the PowerPoint, and they had to upload a video to it. And in this presentation, they could not by no means research about Martin Luther King or Rosa Parks. We felt that for 5th grade students, they should have already attained that skill in lower grades, and that whatever skill they already knew, they could transfer that knowledge into this particular piece. Our students were very engaged, very excited. We launched the project on Friday, which was, I believe, the 9th, the 8th of February, and today is the 11th, and all the students have pretty much halfway through their projects and ready for a presentation. The last part of it I thought was an engaging piece, was to have the students to dress as their character, come in a role. One student will be coming as Thurgood Marshall because she was impacted by what the result of Brown versus Board of Education, Topeka, Kansas, 1954, the case that did away with segregation. So the students were very much engaged. They felt like they took ownership of the project. In summary, Reconstructionism and critical theory allows educators and teachers, students, how to appreciate life experience and take problem solving through dialogue and critical reasoning. By this, students are encouraged to collaborate, text, and to have mutual respect for teaching practitioner as well as themselves. They use metacognitive skills as they focus on their own community and the world around them. Change is never easy, as controversial issues never are to be the driving force to develop tomorrow's leaders. Thank you, and I hope you enjoyed my presentation.